11 skills you must master for virtual wholesaling success. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I want to break down the 11 skills you must master to become a master at virtual wholesaling real estate. If you really want to become elite, you want to start making 6-7 figures in virtual wholesaling, you're going to have to master these 11 skills. And good news, these are skills I teach on this YouTube channel, so it's not going to be the end of the world, guys. But what I can tell you is you must master these skills for success. If you do not master these skills, I'm telling you right now, you could be in a world of hurt because if you don't master these skills, somebody else in your market's going to master them, and that's not going to be good. So let's break down the 11 things you have to master. Really, I've tried all the skills for virtual wholesaling real estate. A lot of them are just really quick fundamentals that you don't really have to master that skill. You know, when I tell you don't lie to a seller, that's not telling the truth, not mastering something. But some of these skills take time to actually know. But once you get that skill, it's hard to unlearn it. So it's very, very important. So let's go into these skills. Before I break it down, do me a big favor and smash the like button and subscribe. And let's break it all down. So the first skill you must know when it comes to mastering virtual wholesaling real estate is picking the right market. Picking the right market is so important for virtual wholesaling. Most wholesalers actually don't know how to pick the right market, and that's going to cause a lot of issues. That's why a lot of wholesalers starting out, especially in virtual wholesaling, they don't do well because they don't know how to pick the right market. To pick the right market, I prefer an ARV of at most 300,000. So just go to Zillow ARV. So basically just go to Zillow average median home price in my area. So if I'm doing in California, if I'm doing Fresno, California, I'm gonna check what the median home price is there. I might go to Florida, maybe Orlando, see where that's going to be, guys. Mastering your ARV, mastering where you're going to be in that market, you have to understand where that ARV. I like at most 300,000 is the median home price. Just do a quick Zillow search at freewholesaling.com. I really break this down. Then the next part, I want the county to be at least 100,000 people. I prefer the city to have a population at least 40 to 50,000. Really, a lot of people think picking the right market is the special super big skill. But if you really stick to those principles, having an ARV of at least 300,000, at most for the median home price, and having the city at least 50,000 people living in it, it's really not that hard to pick the right virtual wholesaling market, but it is a skill you need to master. So many people don't know how to pick the right market, and honestly, if you pick those rules, you're going to be fine. The next skill you have to master here is confidence. I think a lot of wholesalers, they lack a lot of confidence, and confidence is something I can teach. You really learn confidence by just doing it right. How do I get really confident talking to a seller? I talk to sellers all the time. I used to be scared to drive a car when I started learning how to drive, right? I wasn't the expert on it, but I'm very confident driving a car now because I've been doing it for a lot of years, right? Since I was basically 14 years old. So I can tell you guys right now, if you need skills, if you need the skill to get confident, need the skill to pick a market, you just got to pick the right market and go. So building that confidence, talking to a seller. But honestly, my big hack here on confidence, if you believe in yourself of what you're doing. So confidence is the basic definition in wholesaling real estate when it comes to confidence is a belief in yourself of what you're doing and a belief of what you're truly saying. So if I believe what I'm saying, I'm going to be very confident with it. And a lot of beginner wholesalers, they're not confident at all in virtual wholesaling because they don't believe what they're saying. I don't believe me and my partner are going to buy your house. If you have that negative mindset starting out, you're not going to buy that house. You're absolutely going to fail talking to the seller. The truth is, if you believe to yourself that you and your cash partner can buy this house, your confidence is going to skyrocket. Now it's technically a skill, but honestly, between you and me, if you truly believe that you can help a seller out, you're going to do so much better. And really, that's how you build that confidence. Confidence talking to a cash buyer, having that belief that you have a good deal, you can sell to a cash buyer and they're going to buy it with you guys. Confidence is going to be so important. Your seller can basically sniff out bad confidence from a mile away. So it's really important you have a lot of great confidence for your wholesaling skill set. Number 3 here, market research. I don't think a lot of virtual wholesalers are doing market research the right way. Market research is basically going out here and researching what's going on in your virtual market. Guys, if you can master market research, you're going to have a really big upper hand, especially as a beginner in virtual wholesaling real estate. What do I mean by this? Let's say you're doing virtual wholesaling. So let's do a quick market like Houston, Texas, right? I know a lot of virtual wholesalers there, and I know a lot of physical wholesalers there. If I'm going to start in Houston, Texas, first thing I'm going to do market research. I'm going to figure out what is the average median home price in that area. I'm going to figure out what areas are really good for wholesaling, where the cash buyers like, where the cash buyers don't like. The quick tip here, just go to Facebook groups. There's a ton a ton of wholesalers in these Facebook groups. And if you can network with them, potentially they could tell you what market's really good, what market's not good at all. And I'm just telling you, like, you keep doing this research, it's going to help you so much. It's going to skyrocket your success in wholesaling real estate. Another big one here is, like, for your market research, find wholesalers in that market that are doing really well. What do I mean by this? There's a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that are bragging on these Facebook groups. Oh, I just got a deal in Chester Heights in Houston, you know. See where, okay, if you got a deal there, you should probably market in that area. If you're finding people bragging about checks and they're posting the deal, but basically of the address they have, you can actually go out here and copy where they're wholesaling and go after it. One last tip with the market research. I know a lot of wholesalers are going to be mad when I say this, but like, figure out your cash buyer data. So if you know this cash buyer is buying from the top wholesaler in Houston, look up the cash buyer on public records and you could see the properties he's buying from wholesalers. Guess what? If this cash buyer is buying a lot of deals from other wholesalers in the 44433 area code, you know that's a good potential place to go after. So really researching, like if you talk to a cash buyer and he buys a ton of deals from wholesalers, ask him what his last 3 flips are. And usually they don't care, or you can look them up on like PropStream. Look at the deals they're buying. Usually they're buying it from wholesalers. You can reverse engineer it from there and boom, you got really good market research. I'm going to get a lot of trouble for saying that. Number 4 is knowledge. If you want to get the knowledge for wholesaling real estate success, if you want to be successful, you're going to have that knowledge. Not a lot of people really think about this to a point, but you actually do need knowledge to be successful in virtual wholesaling real estate. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know the process, you're not going to do well, right? Like it's basically like playing a basketball game. If you don't know the rules of basketball, what a double dribble is, what's traveling, if you can shoot a 3-pointer, if it's a 2-pointer, if you don't know the rules, you're going to be lost. You might have the skills. You might be 7 feet tall. You might be the fastest person on the court. You might jump 30 feet high, right? But like if you don't know the rules, you're not going to be successful. And this is something I think a lot of wholesalers starting out, like they get a little confused, you know, is it legal? What do I do when I get a contract? All the guys at freewholesaling.com, I break down exactly the process, but you potentially could be like a star athlete player, the smartest person, but like if you don't know the rules, you have no shot at success. So understand the knowledge of the real estate wholesaling game, know how the stuff works. It's really simple. My free wholesaling course basically answers it. It's absolutely for free. Get your knowledge up. This is a skill. I'm still a student of wholesaling real estate. I wholesale every single day. And of course, my knowledge base changes every day. I see somebody's doing something that works well, something's not working well. I'm always changing everything. Number 5 here, this is a really important skill, adaptation. Guys, if you are in virtual wholesaling, you're going to have to change it up. You're going to have to adapt. Can tell you a quick story about businesses, right? Like if you look at Blockbuster, look at Netflix. Blockbuster used to destroy Netflix. Something changed. Blockbuster didn't adapt. Netflix adapted to online digital, and the rest was history, right? If you really look at the top wholesalers, right, a lot of them adapt. And this is a big thing because sometimes real estate changes, right? Like real estate prices might be going down, real estate prices might be going up, and you're going to have to adapt. The wholesalers that don't adapt to the changes get lost and pushed behind. You know, last time when the real estate got crushed in 2008, 2009, a lot of wholesalers didn't adapt. They didn't know what to do to adapt, and they got crushed. And especially when the market kept going back up, some wholesalers didn't know how to adapt to that, and they got crushed too. Same thing with marketing. New marketing channels come by all the time, new softwares, and it's important to try all the new ones and see if you can adapt it to your model or not. But sometimes there's some bad softwares out there, but adapting, constantly being in the know of laws and changes and everything like that, it's very important for any business, but especially for virtual wholesaling real estate. Number 6 here, the skill of list polling. I think a lot of virtual wholesalers, they don't really think about this. They gloss it over. I think a lot of people just go to like PropStream, ListRA.com or ZachData.com. They just start pulling lists willy-nilly. Oh, let me just click the vacant list for, Tennessee here. The truth is, pulling a list is very important, but like, you need to know how to do the data the right way, because if you can, let's say you only have the budget to call 5,000 leads for the month, right? 5,000 leads will clearly get you maybe 5,000 vacant leads. But the thing is, if you know how to filter bad data out of a list, maybe you can whittle that 5,000 into 3,000, which is just getting 2,000 junk ones out here. That means you get to talk to 2,000 more. And if you really look at that's 40% more leads you get to talk to versus the other one, which probably give you 40% more deals and probably 40% more margins and profits in your virtual wholesaling business. So knowing how to filter out bad data is really, really important. High ARV properties that are listed on the market, just really simple stuff. Here's a big one, duplicate mailing addresses. Property owners that own more than 10 houses, right? If you have a list of 1,000 and there's like this one guy that owns 100 houses and you mail 100 times, it's going to be good. Knowing how to filter out bad data is really important. That's why at freewholesaling.com, I teach exactly how to do this the right way. You can even do it in these softwares. It's really, really important. Number 7 here, talking to sellers. Talking to sellers is an art. It's a science. It's a skill. It's a mix of rapport, knowing your script, just being a genuine, nice person, knowing how to be confident and assertive, but also friendly. This is something when it comes to talking to a seller in virtual wholesaling, not a lot of people talk about. And the honest truth is, if you know how to be very assertive, but also very friendly with your seller and really control the situation, you're going to do really, really well. Talking to a seller is a science. You got to be a friend, but you also can't be too much of a friend. You actually, buy the house and just be genuine. It's hard to teach a lot of these skills, but if you constantly cold call enough, you're going to be fine. Number 8 here. Knowing how to close your sellers over the phone. Closing your sellers over the phone is it's such an important skill set, and people really stress out over it. And I don't understand why. And as someone that closes a lot of sellers over the phone, especially on my live streams, like in front of you guys, I know it seemed like, oh, you close sellers all the time. That must be easy for you. But really, closing a seller over the phone and in person is very, very similar. You're just kind of controlling the situation. Maybe the seller wants to meet you in person, but like say, hey, we do this over the phone. Then we're gonna have somebody that goes by. It really, like for closing a seller over the phone versus in person, it really comes down to how you control the situation. Because if you just tell them, hey, this is the way we do things, most of the time the seller's fine with it and you're gonna be fine, right? So this is the difference between talking to a seller, closing the seller. Hey, Mr. Seller, after not looking at the property and everything, I talked to my partner, Rick, how much are you looking to sell the property for? And you just like a genuine thing like that, that's going to do really well versus if I go talk to say, hey, I was talking to my partner, Rick, and how much are you looking to sell the house for? I don't really convey that confidence with it. It's a very minute, but brings off a bad vibe to the seller more or less. And you don't sound like you know what you're doing, a lot of confidence, and you might not close the seller over the phone. Over the phone, a lot of confidence can be very important, a lot of authority when speaking to them. And it's not an aggressive authority. It's the authority that you know what you're talking about and you have the confidence. It's very important. The skill set, you can watch my live streams, freewholesaling.com. That's really when I break it down. Number 9, this is very important. This is mastering the walkthrough. You have to master the walkthrough in virtual wholesaling. If you do not know how to master the walkthrough, if you botch the walkthrough in wholesaling real estate, especially virtual wholesaling, you're not going to get a right deal. Your cash buyer can go behind your back. The seller might want to get out of the deal. You got to know how to pick the right boots on the ground to go by, take pictures of the property, and actually walk the seller through the house. And these are all scripts, all things I teach at freewholesaling.com, but this is a very, very big skill you have to acquire for success. Mastering the walkthrough is going to be really important. I recommend everybody go out here and learn how to walk through sellers virtually over the phone. Really, you could talk to the seller over the phone, say my person's going here. You can have a realtor, you can have someone just walking through. It's really, really simple the way you do it. The truth is you got to find the right boots on the ground, the right runner, quote unquote. You have to walk them to the house, or you have your cash buyer actually do it for you. But you really have to give them the talk, ask them the right questions. Hey, you can't really talk to the seller too much. If they ask you, just my partner on this situation, you have to have a lot of trust with that cash buyer too, but really knowing how to pull the cash buyer the right way and mastering it, it's going to be very, very important. Number 10 is controlling the deal, kind of piggybacking on the last one, but this is a very important skill. If you do not know how to control the deal can just go apart, right? If you don't control your cash buyer, you're screwed. If you don't control the seller, you're screwed. If you don't control the title company, you're screwed. You're really going to have to control all of these situations to really get the virtual wholesaling deal over the finish line. And if you don't know, you're not going to do well. So it's very important, guys and gals, that you actually go out here and master controlling the deal. How do you learn how to master and control the deal? Like number 4, you have to have the knowledge of how to do it. What is the knowledge? knowing how to talk to the seller the right way, saying, hey, we're going to bring somebody to go look at the property, actually take pictures of the property. We're going to actually have to go through somebody who's actually going to walk through the house, actually put eyes on it, probably our partner on this one. And then the day of the closing, we're going to have somebody go by and actually look at the house, really controlling it, making sure the title company knows that, hey, you need to follow up with the seller once every single week. A lot of title companies don't do that, but you have to master actually controlling the seller like that, actually telling them what's going to happen, what's the situation, what they're going to do. It's going to work really, really well. And last but not least, number 11, this is following up. Guys, if you do not follow up, you are not going to get a virtual wholesaling deal. Because we're doing virtual wholesaling, not in-person wholesaling, following up is actually going to be more important than ever. Guys, you're going to have to follow up with the seller at least once every single week. If you do not follow up with the seller, they're going to think you're going ghost on them, and then they're just going to get out of the deal mentally, and then you're screwed, right? If you don't follow up with the cash buyer, something crazy could happen, guys. I get stories all the time. Says the cash buyer ghosted me. The seller ghosted me. They walked off. The cash buyer wants out of the deal. The seller wants out of the deal. The title company didn't do their job. Oh my gosh, there's a title problem. Guys, all of these issues all stem from not following up. It's so important to follow up. If you do not follow up, you are not going to get a deal. Also, when you have your leads and you have someone that wants to sell their house, you're going to follow up with that person once to twice a week, even potential sellers. After you get that property under contract, obviously you got to keep following up. A lot of people think follow-up is a thing for the acquisitions when you're actually trying to get a property under contract. No. When you get a property under contract, that's when you have to start following up even more with that person. Guys, follow-up is on the entire game until the check is in your hand for virtual wholesaling real estate. You must keep following up, guys. These are my 11 skills you must master for virtual wholesaling success. If you do not know how to do this the right way, you are pretty much destined to fail on a virtual wholesaling deal. You have to learn how to do these skills the right way. I really kind of whittled all these down. The rest you can kind of learn at freewholesaling.com. So if you want a free real estate wholesaling course, I do recommend you go to freewholesaling.com to learn all these skills, how to master them, and the stuff in between the entire virtual wholesaling process. Guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a big favor, smash that like button and subscribe. Let me know if you've mastered any of these skills. If any of these skills that I didn't mention that you think should be mastering, let them know in the comments. I'd love to know. Last but not least, smash the like button and subscribe. Go to freewholesaling.com to master these skills, and let's get mastering it. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.